Hey, okay, think that's working? Good deal, sorry. Alright, today's subject is gonna be a little bit deep. Yeah, give me a second, I'm just making sure everything's all set up all right. Let me go ahead and take a sip of coffee. Got notified for once, hell yeah, that's awesome to hear. Good, can you guys hear me? Hey, Carolyn, thank you so much for hopping on in. Esther, thank you so much for hopping on in. Kathleen, Elizabeth, thank you so much for hopping on in. Really appreciate it. Sarah, thank you so much for making it. Guys, we are going to have a deep subject conversation about one of the more haunted locations in the world, and I'm sure this is a place probably some people really love to see this video content. Look, there's probably a positivity to this, even though I really well, no, there is a positivity to it. It makes for really intense content, I've noticed, with the suicide force, and we're going to be talking about the Japanese suicide force, if you guys are not aware, and why I personally believe that it's kind of a bad idea to film at this location. It doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter how likable you are. This is the second video I have watched of the Suicide Forest investigation, and I gotta tell you, I almost felt the same exact way. I didn't necessarily feel the exact same way about the whole Logan Paul situation, which I think cannot be toppled when it comes to that location in general. I think that was the easiest, one of the most disrespectful videos I've ever seen in my entire life. This one had moments of disrespect, and it had moments of just aggravation. But last night I watched a TFIL video, which is now up on my Patreon page, the reaction to the Suicide Forest investigation that the Colby, and a couple of other guys did at the Japanese Suicide Forest in Japan. And I gotta tell you, after the video, I was at awe. I really was. And look, I'm not gonna say that these are bad people who go out here and film. I don't think they intended for the video to come off the way it did. But in my opinion, I think it just overall says to me that the Japanese Suicide Forest is one of the worst locations to film at. Because it doesn't make you look good at all. It just doesn't. It just doesn't. I remember last night I was listening to Elton and Colby and everybody talk about how they were prepared to see what they were going to see, yet no one wanted to see what they were going to see. And it just doesn't look good when you're talking like you might want to see an actual dead body of somebody who just wasn't strong enough, or who just could not deal with the pressure of life, and they just for their own personal reasons decided to end their lives. And I feel like it is so disrespectful, and in a sense just, and it's not even yeah, it's easy to get lost in there too, but I think that's not only, why it's also not a good reason why you shouldn't film there, but I just feel like it's the whole concept of the forest itself. And why, I mean, even in its title, you don't go out to the Japanese suicide forest unless you are looking for a dead body. I don't know what else to, think when you're out there. You're going out there to find a dead body, and at that point, why would you do that to yourself? First off, for your own mental state, why would you do that? And if you're a content creator, why would you want to post that shit to social media? Again, this is my second video watch now of someone going out there and doing something out there, and it doesn't make them look good at all. At all. It doesn't make them look good at all. All it shows is that I'm looking at a bunch of guys trying to dare themselves to go out and find a dead body as if it was like a joke. Or not like even a joke, but like a mission or a goal in life to go out there and find something like that. Like I'm watching the fucking movie, which is a big difference, the movie Stand By Me, right? Where they go out and they try to find a dead body. But these guys are going out there trying to find people who could, kill themselves. Exactly. And that's my point. If you go out to the Japanese suicide forest, you're going out there for one reason. It's not for paranormal. It is to find a dead body. And people are going to be jumping on, what is the big difference between the Japanese suicide forest and just a normal haunted location? Because, the people at haunted locations, they die all the time, right? I mean, that's why they're haunted. But this thing is still an ongoing issue, right? Where people are going out there just to end their own lives. And I think when you go out there, that is what you're aiming for. You're aiming to find a dead body. And I gotta say, every time they talk about this on any video I've watched, I can never get behind them. Like, I can never pat my buddy on the back and say, yeah, let's go out and find a dead body. This is the most exciting thing we've ever done. It doesn't look good. It makes me look like a weirdo. And it's not something I think anybody should take lightly. You are going out to find somebody. And one of the most irritating things about every video that I've seen is it's morbid curiosity is what it is, and that's a good way to put it. It's morbid curiosity. But I'm watching these guys talk about how they're not sure if they want to see it, and the last night's video irritated the fuck out of me. The TFIL video I watched irritated the hell out of me. I was really even constantly saying throughout the video, I just want this video to be over. I don't even want to watch it anymore. And it wasn't even the anxiety that I was feeling while watching these guys go through the suicide forest. It was the fact that I'm watching these guys do this for content, and it annoyed me. That's what was getting under my skin, and I'm watching these guys try to find a dead body for content. And you can't argue that's not what they're doing, because that's exactly what they're doing. Even if they tried to argue it, even in the video, they were stating, like, we didn't drive all the way out to Japan just not to see a dead body. That's basically what it was sounding like to me. It was like, oh my gosh, is that really the only reason why you went out to Japan, was to try to find I could not believe what I was watching, and it was surprising to me how much it annoyed me. Not as bad as the Logan Paul video. It annoyed me, but not as bad as that Logan Paul video where they were cracking jokes next to the body, trying to make it a plug-in for suicide awareness. It was not that bad, but it was still bad. And then after they actually eventually saw what could have been a body, they were starting to ask themselves, what do you think was going through their minds, man? It was just annoying to me how it was coming across. It was like, I'm not even trying to get all flustered about it, but like, it does not work for content. It doesn't in my eyes. If you go out there, you're only out there for one reason. It's not paranormal. You're practically, in my mind, you're maybe using paranormal as an excuse, and maybe it is haunted out there. It wouldn't surprise me. But you're going out there to find a dead body. Just be like, and at least they were honest about it, right? That's the thing. At least they were honest about it. And I'm sorry. There's certain things in my life that just, when I watch it through a reaction, I can't help but, like, this has been eating me up all day. All night long, I've been thinking about this. Why do people go out to the Japanese suicide forest? Why is it like a have to? Why is it the only thing that you go out to Japan for? Like a dare? Oh, I double dog dare you to walk over to that tent. They didn't say something like that, but that's the vibe I got. And then Elton, like, was talking about how they had to deal with it, right? That was annoying. That was annoying. I don't know why he kept... After they found the body, right? After they went out to the forest and they found the body, Elton and them, they started walking back up the hill. And then Elton was like, why did we continue, man? Why in God's name did we continue? And I out loud said, maybe it was because you wouldn't shut the fuck up. Right? That is the whole... because you wouldn't shut the fuck up. That's why you guys went and you kept going. You didn't stop. You had plenty of opportunity to stop. Your flashlights were dying. You had all the opportunity to stop what you were doing so you wouldn't have to go any further than what you already did. And he was like, for some reason, he kept bringing everybody into the conversation. It was only Elton who was pushing to go on and try to find this body. It was really him just pushing everybody to go down this hill. The tent's right there, guys. We got to do this. And everybody was like, I really don't want to do this, man. I'm really ready to head back. And at one point, they were heading back. But then Elton kept pushing them, like, he even got sick at one point. And I'm sitting here like, okay, they're going to head back. And then Elton's like, let's just go a few more feet further. Let's just go and see what it is. And then they started walking over back to the tent. And I'm at this point just like... And they kept arguing between each other because, the flashlights all started dying. But all they were doing was just standing there talking to one another. Like, should we go ahead? Should we do this? Should we not do this? What would be the precautions? Like, what would happen to us mentally if we saw an actual dead body? And that's all they would talk about. And then they would be surprised when their flashlights were dying. And I'd be sitting here like, it's because you're standing there doing nothing. That is why your equipment's dying. And it was just an aggravating video. The purpose and the message behind it is... And then at the end of the video, they had the audacity to tell people, do not do this. Do not go out to the Japanese suicide forest. When... apparently it's okay if content creators do it because, that makes it better, right? When you walk out to these woods, it's not the fact that you went out there as an experience. It's the fact that you had to fucking film it and then upload it to your channel. It doesn't make you look good at all. And then you had the audacity to tell people they shouldn't be going out there. At least they're not going out there to film, right? At least they're just going out there I even think, regardless, it's not a good message at all. It's nothing you should just go out and do, honestly. But at least they would not post it to social media. Right? Like morbid curiosity. Yes, morbid curiosity hits sometimes, but these guys had the audacity to film it and then post it to social media, which just annoys me. It's like doing already something bad and then timesing it by 20. If you discover a dead body, never make fun of them unless they are a murderer or overall. Well, it's just one of those things. You never know, right? You just never know. When you go out to those woods, you just come across a dead body. And again, you don't go out to those woods unless you know exactly what you're getting yourself into. They don't call it the Japanese suicide forest for nothing. There's a reason why they call it the Japanese suicide forest. Was the audio going crazy as hell? Let me move this back a little bit. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that. Yeah, it might be going a little bit crazy. I wasn't meaning to snap or anything like that, but when you get really into the subject matter, in my personal opinion, this really is like the worst fucking place you can go to film content. It doesn't matter how successful I am. It doesn't matter how many patrons I get. It doesn't matter if I start doing paranormal investigations. I will already promise you guys right now, I have no interest in going out to the Japanese suicide forest. I already said I wouldn't mind going to the actual public trail. That's fine. But going beyond that, I have no interest in seeing a dead body, and I have certainly no interest to invade the privacy of somebody who was not strong enough or who just could not handle the pressure of life and just ended their lives. I don't know what the reasons are, but I would have no interest in invading that person's privacy. That's obviously something they did, and that's something that I would have no interest in overstepping my boundaries. I feel like that is beyond overstepping my boundaries as somebody who loves content creation. Sorry about that. Yeah, their audio started going off like crazy. It started malfunctioning like crazy, and that got annoying after a while. The strobe light shit with their flashlights gave me a headache. Yeah, it was just overall not a good video. It wasn't a bad video. It was like, it was really intense. I felt the anxiety, but at the same time, and it's because maybe I just didn't want to see it. That might have been one of the things. I know what it's like to be out in the forest or the woods late at night and have the anxiety of not knowing what kind of animals are out there. And that's another moment in the video that really annoyed me, is when they heard a growl, which could potentially, I don't know what's out in the Japanese suicide forest, what kind of carnivores are out there, but when you're out there at like 1:30 in the morning, I think is what they were out there like at 4 in the morning, and they heard a growl, and they started bolting, which is already a bad idea. If there's a carnivore right there, and you start bolting like that, they're gonna probably charge you. Thankfully, that didn't happen. I'm very thankful that didn't happen. But overall, it was just annoying. I didn't like Elton in that video. I just found him to be obnoxious and pushing everybody to do something that they didn't want to do. And that's just one of those things to where they feel like it's for the content. We can't do this. We can't fly all the way out to Japan and not see a dead body, is the whole vibe I got throughout the video. And that's the whole vibe I got throughout the Logan Paul video too. It's just, we can't leave without seeing a dead body. And then at least they didn't start cracking jokes about it, but then they started talking about like what was going through his mind, man. And I felt bad for Colby for the most part. Colby was like the innocent kid who was there, right, with like a bunch of fucking guys who just wanted to. He was like, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, he was almost like the baby of the group at that moment. This was an older video, so he's kind of like baby. And then even after like Elton saw the dead body, Colby was like, Elton, was that really? Was that really? And Elton's like, yes, Colby, yes, that is what it was. And I just felt bad for him. Like, I could tell he didn't want to be out there. I could tell he didn't want to see this stuff. But Elton was really pushing for it. He was really pushing for everybody to see something they didn't want to see. Because it was the experience behind it. It was the experience, guys. Remember the movie Stand By Me? But we're actually really living it. Again, it's like the one fucking place I actually almost have no interest in going out and filming. Again, the opening part, the public trail, sure, I'll do a vlog. But when it comes to the actual suicide forest, which is beyond the rope, I'll film the entrance. That's about it. I have no interest in going down there, invading people's privacy, and doing shit like that. Yeah, and I felt bad. I felt Colby was being pressured. Honestly, I wasn't even that he knew the line. I feel like he was being pressured to do it. He kept nodding his head, yeah, and stuff, and like and agreeing with Elton. I really feel like Elton was calling all the shots, which wasn't fair, because it should be everybody's choice in this situation. You have the choice to whether you want to see this thing or not. And it was Elton who was really pushing for it, and it really rubbed me the wrong way. It really got under my skin. It annoyed me. I can't lie about that. Again, it wasn't as bad as the Logan Paul situation where I thought Logan Paul was just completely an animal. He was a lot of inhumane shit he was saying, trying to plug in suicide awareness, standing next to a body of a guy who he was filming. It was crazy. But yeah, I wouldn't say Colby was at fault at all. No, I wouldn't say he was at fault. I really felt like he was just kind of being pressured into the situation because, at heart, Colby is a content creator in a sense, and maybe he just felt like, being out there would have done well and whatnot. But you could clearly see the three other guys who were there clearly did not want to see anything they didn't want to see. And even Elton, I felt like, didn't want to do it. But for some fucking reason, he was pushing everybody to go down this hill to see something they didn't want to see. And it worked, because that's what they did. They actually saw something they didn't want to see. And I'm sorry, I don't mean... Are you uploading the reaction? The reaction's already up on Patreon right now. I will obviously upload it at some point to YouTube. I plan on doing a lot of extra content for your Patreon and stuff, like I promised you guys. There's going to be a lot of paranormal investigations, a lot of Explore videos that are going to be uploaded to Patreon and not uploaded to YouTube right away, so I do apologize. But the good news is that I moved all of the early access stuff to $1 a month. So if you guys are... The YouTube stuff, let me be specific. The YouTube early access is for $1 a month. The movie reaction early access is $5 a month. So if you guys are not, join for $1 a month, and you guys can watch that stuff as early access. I will be posting more, so keep that in mind. A lot of people first heard of them because of the video after the Logan Paul controversy. Yeah, I'm sure that a lot of people decided to go over to the Suicide Forest and wanted to film out there because of, the Logan Paul controversy, which really just amped up the stakes. Would it be disrespectful to leave flowers in the forest? No, I don't think so. No, that's not disrespectful. I find it to go out to find this and film it on a video camera and then upload it to YouTube or whatever social media platform you're going on for views. I find that to be disrespectful. Because again, you got to keep in mind that maybe you argue that it's a lifeless corpse now. That was somebody with feelings. They had their own issues. They had their own. They deserved their own privacy at the very least. I mean, I'm actually getting emotional because I hate that shit, man. I hate that shit. You wouldn't want that done to you, so why should you do it to other people? It makes no sense to me. What, because for views? It's bothersome, man. It is bothersome. No, I mean, this video was before the Logan Paul controversy, and... Oh, it was before the Logan Paul controversy? I'm sure probably Logan Paul saw it and was like, hey, this is a good idea. Okay, that actually makes sense. He probably was like in his own mind, how do I up the antes, right? How do I make my video better? Showing a full actual guy hanging from a tree. Yeah, that's... In his mind, yeah, that fucking would get a lot of clicks. And he was right, it did get a lot of clicks, but at the end of the day, put a big dent in his career. No. Hey Esther, how you doing? Thank you so much for hopping on in. The Mermaid Brew, thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for joining. I haven't really been paying attention to the chat. I was really going on a rant here. It's a bad place to film. It's a bad place to film, and I think that it doesn't matter whether you're a content creator with a bunch of subscribers behind them. If you're going out there to the intentions of filming, you probably have only one intention in your mind, and I think it's to... If you go beyond the rope. I think, yeah, I know what your intentions are. But if you don't go beyond the rope, I think you mean well. But these guys went beyond the rope, and they knew right after where this rope would, after the pathway would lead. In my personal opinion, yeah, I agree with you, Mermaid Brew. It makes absolutely no sense why you'd film there unless you are intending to find a dead body and post it to social media. If you are filming out there, I only have one guess on why you're doing it. I don't think I would film Suicide Bridge at all. I don't want to see anything like that. I don't know a whole lot about the Suicide Bridge. I only know about Suicide Force. But yeah, I'm sure that if the name Suicide is in front of the place, I'm sure that is what people do there. Yeah. And you don't go out to the famous Japanese Suicide Forest to find ghosts. You don't. Again, unless you are in that first part of the forest. But if you go past beyond the part where it's like caution, then yeah. At least it wasn't on the level of the Logan Paul video. The Logan Paul video showed everything. It showed the guy's clothes. It showed his hair color. It was blurred out like a little bit. It showed almost everything. Like, if anybody knew who that guy was in Japan, they would have been able to probably guess who that was. Like, that's how much he showed of the body. And, whew. Okay, I'm just gonna say this, that you will hate, because probably hear it most in a different way. That forest is one of the most Okay, I am just gonna say this, and you will hate, because you probably heard it. Most in a different way. That forest is one of the must not film in JCARTS. It is probably one of the most not places to film. Yeah, it showed everything. It pretty much did. It pretty much did. I can't remember. Like, what's next? What's next after that? How do you get better, right? How do you get better than that? How do we get better than the Logan Paul video? I don't know. Grab the guy's wallet, read it on camera, show it on camera. Watch what happens when that happens. Yeah. That was just blatant disrespect, yeah, and borderline crime. Yeah, they got kicked out of Japan after that. Rightfully so. That is like the worst case. That is the worst thing that happened to them, was them getting kicked out of Japan. After that, YouTube made them do an apology video, and that was it. That was basically it. The thing is, I did not want to see that, and it was everywhere. Yeah, no one wanted to see that. I didn't want to see that, and it was just, kids didn't want to see that. Kids probably, his audience was mostly kids at the time. And they just probably scarred those kids. Like, wasn't it, who was it that was just on Twitch not too long ago? Was it Aiden Ross who was on Twitch not too long ago and he, like, showed porn to his audience who were a lot of kids? Just out of nowhere? No, I'm glad, I know, they're very, Japanese people, they're pretty honorable people, and, you know, they don't like disrespect, and that is nothing but disrespect all over it. But yeah, now my favorite video is the Overnight Channel and the Ball in the Old Washoe Club. Done deal on that. A lot of media online posted the full thing in screenshots. Took a couple days to. Oh yeah, if you go to Google Images right now, you can see pictures of that whole video. Still, it's something that will be here forever. That is a video that will never be gone. People have uploaded that video through other means besides just YouTube. That video is still on the internet today. Yeah. That video is there forever. And there's nothing no one can do about it. It's just going to be there. People have it shared, downloaded on their own PCs. It's just always going to be here. Kind of like the whole, and I'm not meaning to compare this to the Will Smith smack, but it was Jim Carrey who said it, and he said it pretty good. It's like, he would have sued Will Smith for like $20 million the next day, because that video will be there forever. That is going to be there. He will be known as the guy who got smacked by Will Smith at the Oscars. That is a video, and Logan Paul will always be that guy who filmed a dead body hanging in the Japanese suicide forest. There are people who still give him shit for it till this day. Right now he's getting more, I would say, Crypto Zoo shit, but right, he still gets a lot of that video shit too. I actually watched a video with Logan Paul earlier, and he was doing that cold as balls with Kevin Hart thing, and how he was just, every word that comes out of this guy's mouth is just annoying to me. After everything he's done, and he still thinks he can get away with it. Like, it blows my mind. And he plays the dumbass. One thing I'll give props to Elton is that after the Logan controversy, he took down the publicity on the Force video. I will not give him an extra props because deleting was the right thing. Deleting would probably be, yeah, the better thing to do. But again, the video at the very least, was not as bad as the whole Logan Paul video. The Logan Paul video was next level. Next level. Disrespect, disgusting, inhumane. Made his friends and him look like a bunch of psychopaths. Oh yeah. When they were cracking jokes, I remember, what was it he said to his friends? We saw a dead body, and they all started laughing. Like it was a good thing. Sorry, bros. I thought this was gonna be a fun and spooky video, not like a serious video. The shit he said in that video was just aggravating as all hell. You knew he didn't mean any of it. You just knew from the way he was saying it. You just knew he didn't mean none of it. The right thing to do, if you ever were out there and you see a dead body, is to put the camera away, turn it off, end the video there, go get the local police, and have them deal with this situation. It wouldn't be just continue to film. Don't post the video. No, absolutely not. Oh, I will say this: the video that they filmed at the time, they could where they couldn't go in Whaley House, they captured something when they went to the graveyard. Ooh, interesting. Like, how do you even edit a video from the day like that? Yeah, how do you even? That's a crazy thought right there. How does the editing team edit that right? That video where he films that body and stuff. Like, how do they consciously just edit that video without saying something to him? That's the problem. Logan Paul surrounded himself with nothing but yes men. Like, oh yeah, this is a great idea, man. You have the money. You have the money. This is a great idea. Let's post it. We'll get even more money. That's all I could think that they were sounding in their. That's all I can think they were thinking in their heads. Oh, dude, this video is gonna kill. We're gonna get so much money off this video. Heck, it make it seem worse, but Elton actually found a second body, a girl that he had to blur out the video when he edited. He talked about it on the reaction video. Really? I did not know that. I did not know that. Yeah, I mentioned that before Jay watched the video. Oh, did you? Okay. That's crazy. Yeah, sorry. I'm just... There's a body on that video. You could see it. Fully see it. I don't know if I want to see it. I don't know if I want to see it, to be honest with you. Again, I just find the whole situation to be extremely disrespectful, disgusting. You should not show it. It doesn't matter if you blur it. You shouldn't show it, regardless. It's not... You should, like, cut the video out and just explain what you saw in the video. Like, if I was Elton, if I was out in the suicide forest and I was filming and I caught a dead body on camera, I would black that screen out. I'd bring it to me in my room and I would say... There's a reason why I'm not showing the rest of the footage, and it's because so-and-so and so, I saw this, that, and this, and I decided it was not a good thing to show on social media. And that is what I feel like you should have done, or he should have done. That was a line for me where I lost respect for Elton. Yeah, you just don't show that shit. You just don't show it. It doesn't matter how crazy it is to catch on camera. You just don't show it because it makes it look like not insecure. It makes you come off like a very insensitive individual who just does not think about the welfare or the aftermath of others. You just think about what's going to get you the most views in a video. The crazier on camera, the better the views, is probably what he was thinking. The fact that he made sure to point it out on the reaction. Yeah, that was the line where you lost all respect. I don't blame you. That would make me lose respect for a lot of people too. Dion, how you doing? Thanks so much for hopping on in. It's going pretty good. Well, I'm just ranting about a Suicide Forest video I watched last night. It's the second video I've seen in the Suicide Forest. And I gotta tell you, at this point, it's just... I just don't like people filming there. I just don't. It's not meant for content, and I stand by that. The Suicide Forest is not meant for content. And I think the Japanese... Everybody in Japan probably agree with that, too. It's just, why would you do this? Why would you go out there and film? You're invading people's privacy when you do that. You are being disrespectful. Colby had said that he considers Sam to be his guide in his life, and Sam is very easily influenced, just a bad mix. There is that too, yeah. You know, there's moments, and I'm not going to compare Elton to Sam, but there were moments in that Suicide Forest video where I was like, Sam has done very similar things for content. I remember when he was pushing Corey, which is not as bad, but he was pushing Corey to do an Ouija board, and he was really pushing for it, and I'm like, that is something Elton would have done. And then I'm watching the Suicide Forest video, and I'm like, that is something Sam probably would have done. And the way they worded things was very much similar. Not trying to compare, I don't think Sam is as bad as Elton, but there was some similarities for sure. So yeah, at the end of the day, I think the point of the video I'm trying to make here, the live stream I'm trying to make, is that just don't do it. The opening part of the forest, fine. The trail that was meant for the public, fine. But when you go beyond that rope, it's just better if you don't do it. It just is. Like, I'm not saying don't film, like, the outside of the, area and stuff, but, like, going down into those woods and then trying to find a body. I don't even know where the satisfaction is of seeing one. I just don't. Like, what satisfaction do you gain by just walking down this hill and hoping that you see someone lying there on the ground or hanging from a tree? What is the fucking point? I don't understand what mentally you are going to gain from seeing this. Oh, at least I saw one, right? Like that. Okay, so you saw one. Great. You saw someone who died. That great. Okay. The aftermath of something like that. I don't know what you gain from it. It makes no sense to me. It absolutely does. I'm starting to get tired. I need to leave town on Monday and head to another city in Montana, so I will go to bed. Good night, JD. Okay, Pyro God. Yeah, that video I only watched once and their reactions to their own. If you really want to see bodies go to school, become a coroner, and be useful. I know some people who are actually into that, yeah. But for some reason, people view it as an attraction, which is crazy to me. That people would view this Japanese suicide force, and maybe it's because it's called the Japanese suicide force, is why people view it as an attraction. Almost like, you know, for some people, like fucking probably the paranormal group or people who go exploring, like fucking Universal Studios, where they're like, oh my gosh, it's like you have to go and do this. You have to. It's an experience if you go out there and see a dead body. That's like, you know, a bucket list thing, and it's like, oh. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. At the end of the day, it's all disgusting. I can't see Sam having bad intentions, but content can make some people do some crazy things. Can't separate from the content to reality. Exactly. Exactly. Like, I don't think he meant it to be bad, but the way it comes out, and I don't even think I don't even think Elton meant for it to be bad, but the way it comes out at the aftermath of this video, you don't go into the Japanese suicide force unless you have one intention, and that is to see the aftermath of somebody who had unfortunately committed suicide. That is the only real reason why you would do it. And if you're a content creator, the only reason why you're doing it is to get the footage, because you know it's going to be a big hit on your channel. People are going to be like, oh my gosh, he actually went to the suicide force. And there are people who will click that shit and be like, yeah. And I just, and look, I'm someone like that too, where I was watching last night's video and I'm like, okay, now the suicide force video, at least hopefully this one's not as disrespectful as the Logan Paul video I saw a couple years back. And unfortunately, I don't even think they were trying to be disrespectful, but that's how it comes off. I just think it's not a good place to film if you're a content creator. I really do. I mean, I love Sam and Colby. They have some great videos, and I'm not here to hate on them, but Sam does have some really bad ideas, and Colby is a blind follower. I feel like because they're both creative guys. They're both absolutely 100% creative. And I do think they have good ideas. I do. I do stand by Sam and Colby as being awesome content creators. I stand by them being awesome content creators. I think Overnight are a bunch of awesome content creators. I really do. But there are moments to where you're like, did you really sit down and think about this? Did you really sit down and think to yourself that we are going to get a shit ton of hate for this video, or we're going to get a shit ton of people questioning that? I don't know if they truly actually ever had, you know, the intentions to think it over. And I unfortunately think that that's one of the reasons why a lot of these guys are as popular as they are, because they go the extra mile and do things that you might think is bad, but they have the cojones to go and do it and then post it like, oh, at least I'm not the one doing it, right? But at least I can watch someone do it. And it's just like, I think people resonate with that, and I think people love that. It's like a rebellious side. You're not doing it yourself, but at least you're watching someone do it, which is also kind of an interesting feeling, right? So I feel like that really elevates that channel too, in a sense. People just like, oh, well, I'm going to go ahead and subscribe, because if they're doing crazy shit like this, I might as well go ahead and watch it, because I know I'm never going to do that myself. If that makes any sense. But Colby has had some dumb ideas too. The Sam Pepper prank, yeah, that was pretty dumb idea. The fact that Sam and Colby survived that backlash and about hit 10 million is insane. Exactly. I think people like stupid shit. I think people like that. But the Enchanted Forest series, I'm so sorry you opened the rant door and I went full in. I didn't even say hi and asked how you were. Oh, thank you so much. Mermaid Brew, don't worry about it. I like doing this sometimes. Also, this is probably after the fact of Ghost Adventures did an investigation, so why not do the same? I don't remember. Oh, did Ghost Adventures go out to the Suicide Forest? Am I mistaken? Hey, bro, how's it going? Hey, Mike, how you doing, man? And by the way, if you're hopping on here and have not hit that like button, hit that like button. It means a lot. I just went on like a 37-minute rant of the whole Japanese suicide forest and why it's a bad idea to film out here. I don't think it looks good on anybody. Even if you are a beloved content creator, you could be PewDiePie and film out here and still be... And I think, isn't PewDiePie out in Japan right now? Am I mistaken? Is he living in Japan, actually? But I just think, at the end of the day, when you choose to go out here, you run the risk of not looking good as a person. It's not really your channel and your content. It's you as a person that I just find a little bit of an unfortunate feeling. It's like, damn. So you would do that for views. That's what goes through my mind when I see videos like that. You would do that for content. You would go out to these woods, invade the privacy of somebody you never knew. You know what it feels like? You know what it feels like to me when people do this? It feels like they're viewing it as a prop. Yeah. I'm not trying to be a dick and I'm not trying to be hateful, but when I see people go out there and film corpses in this forest, I feel like they view it as a prop for their own self gain. And that's so sad. That is so heartbreaking. And in all seriousness, I find it to be extremely disgusting. And this is an older video. Most of these videos are older, so hopefully people started moving away from that. I'm not sure when the most recent Japanese suicide forest video was filmed, but I can tell you after watching 2 videos now, it does not float with me. It does not work at the end game of the video. It just doesn't. It'd probably be better if they deleted it, yeah. Like, I'm still going to post it, obviously. It's a reaction. It's not like I couldn't see the body in the video, which I'm very thankful for. I didn't know that he apparently pointed it out in another video, which is just, oh, bad. But, yeah. Yep. That is just my thought. I will never be filming there. If I ever gain the success I want to gain in the future, if I ever get the support I really need in the future, I just don't think... If I ever go to Japan, it's going to be for something anime-related, more than likely. I just got no interest in going to the Japanese suicide forest. I'll do the small hike video, if anything. But after that, no. Nope. That's about it. You expect there to be ghosts there. I get that, but it's not for anyone who's hungry for some clout. You got to go in there with respect. I will never go there. So many amazing things to do in Japan. You want to see bodies? No, thank you. I feel the same way. Again, the public part of it, where it's just a walking trail, fine. But when you go past that rope and go down that hill, I only expect you to be looking for one thing. And yeah, I think it's just obvious now. I think it's common sense. After that rope, you know exactly where you're going. You know exactly what you're doing. I just prefer not to. I really do. That's just me. Again, this was no disrespect for anybody. Yep, gonna lurk. Don't want to talk about the forest anymore. One of the most unsettling things to even talk about, but at the least, that was the past. That will never be forgotten. Of course, time to move on. No, true. But this is the point of this live stream, right? That's the whole reason why I made this live stream, was to talk about it. It wasn't, meant to be a full-on... Besna, it was pretty young when the video came out, and I was one of the people that noticed the body in the first video, and I was not ready for that. Right. You see, there was a moment in the Logan Paul video where he was like, guys, I think we just found a dead body, and he did like this fake whimper. I don't even know what the fuck it was. And then that's when he turned the camera around and they walked up to it, and I was like, wow. Was that video the one I watched last night? That was 2017? Probably. I would not be surprised. I'm kind of curious.
That parenting about one of the most popular stars on YouTube. Outrage is growing overnight.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was like late 2017 when that whole video happened, yeah. Back when people were moving from Vine. That's a memory. August 13, 2017. Wow. I didn't notice it, unfortunately. Back when people were moving, I was pretty young. I'm pretty sure that was like 2017. Yeah, I think you're right. So that means the overnight video was around 2017 too. The backlash that guy got from that day. I remember being in school and hearing all about that. I remember being in math class and just people constantly talking about the whole Logan Paul situation. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe what he did. People were disgusted. I remember my classmates being absolutely disgusted. Okay, so... Okay. TFIL, yeah. That was my first, I think, reaction to TFIL last night, actually. But yeah, if you guys want to go watch that on Patreon, literally only $1 a month. That's all I ask, $1 a month. And you guys can watch the early access YouTube videos that will be coming out, and there's going to be several more. I'm going to be doing some exploring with Josh tonight and sending that through Patreon and members. So if you guys are ready for that stuff, then definitely go support me. And yeah, you'll get the early access. And I'm hoping to at least keep that early access stuff on there for like at least a few days earlier than the actual release date. Some might be even weeks earlier. I don't know. We'll just have to see what happens. But there's a lot I want to do here in the next couple weeks. I have been saying that for a while. I know people have been like asking where the stuff is, and it's add to the tip jar. Yep, add to the tip jar, and I'm going to start hopefully getting down and just getting that shit filmed as soon as possible. Yeah, I heard TFIL is back. Yeah, I saw something about that. If you have a twisted need to see a dead body, turn off the camera when you pass the rope. Logan was very clout hungry back then. Well, he still is probably very clout hungry today. Driving himself mad, basically a clout zombie. Not no thoughts in his head. No, I think he was even doing shit as like running out in front of moving cars and stuff in Japan and stuff. The way this guy was fucking acting in Japan was just embarrassing. I felt secondhand embarrassment watching this guy in Japan. Like, I would be embarrassed if this was my buddy doing this kind of shit. I'd probably knock him upside the head. I'd be like, what the fuck do you think you're doing? I don't think he has thoughts in his head that are money driven. Nah, no, he doesn't. It's all money driven. Look at the whole Crypto Zoo situation, for example. He had no intentions of satisfying his fans. He just wanted to find a reason to fuck over people. Maybe not intentionally, but that's just how I view it anymore. Because he still pulls that kind of shit. I have no respect for the guy. None whatsoever. This was the beginning of that, by the way. The whole disrespect, I have no respect for Logan Paul kind of thing was just this whole Suicide Force situation. And then it moved on after that. Then he started doing even crazier things and whatnot, doing even more nonsense and shit that was disrespectful and horrible to other people. I lost it. But anyways, guys, this was not a live stream that was going to last all day. I just wanted to quickly come on here and talk about this in a video, and I thought I'd do it live to be, have a conversation with my audience. So I'm going to go ahead and end the live stream here. I know it wasn't crazy, but I've been going live for the past 3 days now, so I'm going to go ahead and make this one short. It was very fun talking to you guys. I'm sorry it was such a dark subject matter, but I just really wanted to get my thoughts out there on why I just personally think this is a bad place to investigate. I think it's a bad place to film. There's nothing good that can come out of this. So, until next time, guys, do keep it retro and do take care. Thank you for joining, and yeah, I'll check you guys out later.